Oh, hello, welcome back everybody. How's it going, everyone? How's it going? We're back again. Stuffey's back. Tell your friends. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Da, 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 da. Oh, I'm going delirious. Welcome back, everyone. Evening. Good to see you. Hope you've taken in what happened. You've taken a stock of what happened in the aftermath of that sprint race. I know I definitely have. Oh, yeah. Hey everyone, good to see you. Good to see you. Forgot about this part, Joey. Don't. I know, it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget. One more session. One more session to go. And then we have the race tomorrow. I feel like it's been a very long weekend already. And I am feeling it. Not going to lie to you. But we're going to power through. And then my head's going to hit the pillow. And I'm going to go to sleep, get some well-needed rest for tomorrow, of course. Do it all again for the race. That's all right, Pat. No worries. You can always watch this back. That's the great thing. You can always watch this back. So don't worry, I won't put any spoilers on the channel. Morning, Alan. Good to see you, mates. You're listening on your way to work. Oh, work on a Saturday or on a Sunday. Because it's Saturday now, isn't it? Yeah. What time is it here? It is 10:45 in the evening here. But yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Me and the missus stayed around the mother-in-law's. She had a bit of an accident, so we had to go around there to obviously make sure she was okay. And little one, we had to sleep in the same room as little one, our 1-year-old, and we haven't done that since she was like. We've done that maybe like twice since she's gone into her own room. Oh my goodness. It was just like walking on eggshells. Like you couldn't rustle the duvet or anything when you were trying to turn over to the cold side of the pillow. It was just, she was up and down all night. It was like being back in the trenches. So yeah, I haven't had a lot of sleep. And I haven't had a nap today to catch up on it. Liam, thank you for the 5 gifted, by the way. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So yeah, because of that, I will be going straight to bed afterwards. And because she'll be waking up at 7 AM in the morning. So no lions anymore. No lions anymore for me. But yes, thank you. If you're fortunate enough to receive a gifted there from Lee, please give him a W in the chat and a thank you. So yeah, big thank you, Lee. Rest of voice, need me for tomorrow. Yeah, I will. Don't worry. It'll be good. You're at a very noisy party, Castleford. Gone and hidden under a table, need to escape. Anyway, I'm very good, very good. I am good, as I said, apart from being a little bit tired. I think the excitement, I think after I do these watch-alongs, I always have a very big high. Because I love doing these watch-alongs, and obviously if it's an exciting race and stuff happens and there's lots to talk about, I'm always obviously, the adrenaline's flowing and I'm very excited. And yeah, I guess it's only natural to have a come down after that, and then to obviously go again and try and hype yourself up again whilst you're tired is a bit tricky. But I'm here, and I wouldn't be want to be anywhere else. And once I click that live button, all those worries kind of disappear, to be honest with you, and all those feelings disappear because I'm straight into the love of F1. Oh, did I spell Norris wrong? I told you I was tired. Norsey. That's how he's going by now. Mark, thank you for the $4.99. I'm number 1. Thank you very much, buddy. No, I haven't seen that Motorsports 1, but I heard it was, what, is it like on the line for the championship or something? My friend commentates on it, so. It's sad that McLaren is blaming others for the crash with Oscar and Lando instead of saying it was Oscar. Yeah, that was Zach Brown, wasn't it? We've only heard word from Zach Brown, so I haven't heard anything from Andrea Stella or anyone else. So Yeah, Oscar kind of said he just knows that he got hit. Says he hadn't seen the incident when he was interviewed. Okay. Lando, of course, was an innocent party in it all. But, yeah, Zach Brown did say that Hulkenberg, he did double down and say that Hulkenberg or people driving behind were amateurs. So, yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, I have seen comments. I mean, some people have said, I do agree with what people are saying. And as we said earlier on, Oscar is predominantly to blame. He is the one who helped cause that incident. If it wasn't for his actions and doing that cutback, there would have been probably a clean exit through turn one for everyone, predominantly, I reckon, because there would have been no checking up and no concertina effect. However, I do think it is still a racing incident. You want drivers to be able to go for moves like that and go racing, go wheel to wheel. But it was a risky move that sometimes works and it doesn't, and it obviously didn't. And the only positive for Oscar is that he took his teammate out in the process. So it'll be interesting to see how McLaren, I know we keep touching on it, it'll be interesting to see how McLaren deal with it, because ultimately that's a move that Oscar has made to try and overtake his teammate, but has caused a collision that in turn has taken out his teammate. So if they're going to punish and give repercussions to Lando in Singapore when they both continue to finish the race and score points, they didn't even finish the race there. They both went out. So Norris needs to work on his starts. It is a weak area of his, yeah, for sure. So you have your headphones on listening to me rather than watching Strictly. I can get on board. Yeah, very good choice there, John. And of course, I'm biased because it's me that you're listening to, but I'd also do the same as well. Right, let me turn off the... Where are we? Let me turn off the DRS detection points because they're not relevant at the moment when it comes to qualifying, of course. We'll leave the DRS zones on there, though. If you had to blame someone from looking at the replays, it was on Oscar cutting across when you know you're on the outside line, but it's just racing. Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the corner. It's the nature of the corner. There's always incidents there. That's why the corner is the way it is, to take multiple lines. However, it was very risky of Oscar to do. If he pulled it off, he probably would have made the move stick. But it so happened that there were two cars up his inside, pretty much, in the form of Fernando Alonso and Nico Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg had nowhere else to go. And, yeah, he did try to avoid it, but he's reacting to Oscar, who's already turned his steering angle as sharply as he has done. And Hulkenberg can only move into Alonso anyway. So, yeah, it's just... I don't think... I was having a bit of an argument with one of my friends who said it should have been a penalty for Oscar, and I disagreed with him. I don't think it should be a penalty for Oscar. He stated, of course, he's taken out ultimately 3 other cars, but I don't think you can penalise a move like that because it's not an out-of-control move. While, yes, it is, in hindsight, he should have had more foresight to know that, like, yeah, there would have been drivers coming up his inside, and it's a very risky move to make. But I don't think there's anything untoward there as what he's done. So I think it falls into the realm of a racing incident, because if you start penalising drivers for that, when they're just trying to go racing, and he's fully focused on the driver ahead, I don't think it's like pure negligence. I think it's just a case of, as I mentioned before, blind spot. There's a number of reasons as to why the collision has been made, and I think it's what we want to see at turn one. And do you know what? Sometimes an ambitious move at turn one doesn't pay off. It's not necessarily the win or bin it mentality, but sometimes, yeah, the ambitious move doesn't necessarily pay off. And we want to see drivers going for overtakes and not be deterred from the risk of having a turn one penalty. You know, of course, there are times and circumstances when, yes, if you're out of control with your car, i.e. George Russell, when he took out Carlos Sainz at that corner and T-boned him, yes, that was an out of control move, and George Russell was fully to blame for that. But this time around, while yes, it is fully to blame on Oscar because he's going for the cutback, I think the intention there and the execution of it was okay, of course, but he didn't see that there was drivers on his inside, so it's not like it was pure negligence from him. Naivety. I think that's the correct word. And yeah, Alex, yeah. But the blame is fully on Oscar. So Did Norris hit Hulkenberg because Piastri closed the door on him? No. No, Norris didn't hit Hulkenberg. Norris was hit by Piastri. Norris was an innocent party. Piastri obviously turned into Hulkenberg. But yeah, he obviously had no idea that he was there. But it's naivety to not expect someone to be up your inside into that corner, but just because of the nature that it is. And as we mentioned, as Jenson Button mentioned as well, it's okay to make that move when you're a couple of laps into the race. But when on lap 1, you know you've got 17 other cars behind you who are all jostling for position. How often have we seen drivers go 4 wide into there, take the shallow angle, go straight on? It's very risky. It's safer to be wider than it is sharper there. Even Fernando Alonso, great move as it was risky because there was always a possibility that him being on that inside, someone was not going to know in these big F1 cars that we have these days. He was not, that the guy turning in was not going to know that he was subsequently free wide. So it was risky from Fernando Alonso. Yes, it's very good if it pays off, same with Oscar, but it didn't. And they ended up suffering because of it and ended up on the wrong end of it. So Alonso positioning his car where it was technically does, but they made a good point on the Sky pad as well, is that even if Fernando Alonso wasn't there on the inside, I think the sharpness of the angle of Oscar's cutback, I think he still would have made some form of contact with Hulkenberg. Now, would it have been as severe? I don't know. Hulkenberg probably would have been able to have turned more out of the way, but I think there still would have been contact between Hulkenberg and Piastri, even if Alonso wasn't there up the inside. So, yeah, it was a bold move by Oscar that unfortunately hasn't paid off. However, as we said, in the overall grand scheme of things, for him, yes, Max Verstappen has gained 8 points, but he's still over 2 race wins behind Oscar. His main rival, the person he's still looking at, is his teammate, and Lando Norris, and he is, in turn, taking him out in that same incident due to his error. So, yeah, it's reset. We go again. It's just a normal race weekend again for Oscar Piastri. Similar to Lando Norris as well. However, Lando will see that as a missed opportunity because he would have seen him at least gaining a point on his teammate. And if he was able to get away from that unscathed, he would have scored probably 7 points on his teammate. Maybe even got Max Verstappen, because Max has said in interviews post the race earlier on that he's not happy with the race pace. He wasn't happy with the race pace, and that if they are like that from the sprint race into the race tomorrow, then they may have trouble. So he was complaining about the rear of the car, and yeah, we'll see whether they've been able to rectify that. I wonder if they've made maybe any setup changes that may hamper his 1 lap pace, but may give him more race pace. So we will see. We will see. Alonso into Hulk, into Piastri, into Lando, quote Peter Windsor. Peter Windsor comes out with some absolute tosh, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't normally call people out on stream, but I'm sorry, that man really does pull out some tosh. How in any scenario can you look at any of that footage and say that Fernando Alonso went into Nico Hulkenberg? We back? We good? We good? Fix. Cool. We had that earlier. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened earlier. Did you hear me say basically Peter Windsor? I don't consume all the F1 content out there, but there are certain clips that I see. But I don't see how anyone in their right mind can watch any of that footage from any of those angles that have been shown online and YouTube, etc., and determine that Fernando Alonso caused that crash and pushed Hulkenberg into Piastri. Not entirely sure. Advertising is turned off. It is most definitely turned off. I don't know what happened with it earlier on. So yes, advertising is most definitely turned off. The only advert that you should get is the one when you enter the stream, which is a 5-second skippable ad, a typical YouTube thing. So, but anywho, we are back. Mike is good, ready to go. Welcome everyone. Hope you are good. Just touching one last time on the whole, obviously, other content creators and stuff. Everyone is entitled to their opinion though. everyone is entitled to their opinion, and it's okay to have disagreements, just like you probably don't agree with me all the time. So yeah, that is the beauty of the human race, shall we say. And of course, everyone being able to have access to a YouTube channel and social media, as we all well know. But yeah, we try and keep things based around in logic and what we see. And yeah, that is one opinion that I think I definitely disagree with. But anyway, we have Q1 underway and ready to go. Here we are, green light, pit exit open, and well, you will see drivers on the used soft compound tyre because they have used that already, no doubt, in practice and maybe in the sprint quali as well. So drivers, are we going to see any shocks here? Who has made setup changes? Remember, in the sprint race format now, you are able to change your setup from the sprint race to qualifying. So that is what we have here. So I wonder if there'll be, well, if Hulkenberg, do you know what, if there's a man who deserves some fortune and deserves some redemption, it's Nico Hulkenberg, because he was unjustifiably caught up in that lap 1, turn 1 incident earlier on, as Lewis Hamilton's out on the medium. Oh, goodness, Ferrari, what are you doing? Are they really... Do Ferrari, right? Why are you testing me already? Why, in what world do you think, Ferrari, that you can get through Q1 on a set of used medium tyres? Explain it to me. In what world do you think that's possible? Honestly, I am out of words to describe that team, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm happily here to be proven wrong, as I always am. But I think we've seen enough of Ferrari here this season, and particularly this race, this track already this weekend, and that the medium compound speed, let alone on used mediums, is going to be sufficient to get past a number of these drivers who are on new tyres. As Hadjar's off! Hadjar's off! We have a double yellow through the S's, and I think Isaac Hadjar may have binned it through the S's. A double yellow. Is he able to go again? Is it just a spin? Has he hit just a sausage curb? I'm waiting to see the replay to see exactly what has occurred. And no, he's just slowed. It's a red flag, and... or has he actually gone off? Sorry, that's the wrong car that I was witnessing there, going slow. I thought someone was pulling over to the side. Waiting to see what has happened to Isaac Hadjar. And he's just... he's slamming the steering wheel. Oh, he's in the barrier. Yeah, Isaac Hadjar is out of Q1 and brings out a very early red flag here in this Q1 session. And oh my goodness, that RB car. He is okay. He is safe. But that car... the front end has completely gone, and there's damage to the side of the car. He is fuming with himself. Head banging the steering wheel if he can. Slamming his helmet. There's some very naughty words being said behind that helmet at the moment. But yes, let's see what happened with him. No doubt, has he lost the rear? Has he hit one of the curbs through the S's? We haven't seen a crash through here for quite some time, but of course they're travelling at significant speed. A lot of downforce, a lot of G's that will be felt there by Isaac Hadjar, but he's okay. He's out of the car. He's had his tantrum, shaking his head, and well, it's an uncharacteristic mistake from Hadjar in qualifying, arguably one of the best qualifiers of this year, relative to obviously what his car can do. So you've got to have front ends. The ugly livery is to blame, yeah. But we'll see. Let's have a look at the replay of Hadjar. So he's making his way into the entry of the S's, and he turns left, turns right. Oh, that's an odd one. What tyres was he on? He was on fresh tyres. Not entirely sure. It looks like the rear just gave way. Need to see it from a different shot. I mean, maybe it's the curbing. He just gets off the curbing a little bit awkwardly, but that's a very, very odd one. Maybe there was a failure. Not entirely sure. I mean, he's slamming his head as if it's an issue. It's a mistake from himself, but it is an odd place for him to go off. So it was between turn 5 and turn 6, on the apex of turn 6, where he has gone off there. Odd, very odd. Lost on the curb. Yeah, it does maybe that it's just lost downforce and he's took too much curb in there. I need to see a different angle of that. But yeah, they haven't showed it yet. But he's in the medical car. He is okay. But yeah, it's a pretty fair old whack. He would have experienced some G as he went into that barrier almost backwards. Bottomed out on the bump. I think so. Yeah, I think that's probably what he did. Too much curbing. Hadjar has just crashed, yeah. Hadjar has just crashed. That's why we had an early red flag. They have removed that car very quickly, though, and removed the red flag quite swiftly. So, yeah, because it's a Tech Pro barrier, they are able to, obviously, position those back pretty swiftly. And, yeah, they'll be able to get this session back underway pronto. Where's a Ferrari shirt? It's in the wardrobe at the moment. I may get it out tomorrow. Hey, Eddie, all of us Americans are not to blame for a foreign race team picking an ugly scheme. No, I'm not blaming you Americans at all. I think the Haas livery is actually quite nice. I think the Williams livery is definitely very nice. I just don't know what... I've compared it to a Call of Duty camouflage. It's a sort of like camouflage you'd expect in a Call of Duty game. It'd be like Tiger Jungle livery or something it'd be called. You know, yeah, it's an eyesore. It is an eyesore. And I saw the hats as well. I saw the hats that they've paired them up with, and it's like a crime against fashion. And I'm not the most fashionable person, but it's almost a crime against fashion. But can Lewis change tyres now? He can change tyres if he wants to. Not entirely sure why he was out on the mediums. We'll see if he comes out on a set of softs. But of course, in qualifying, a red flag condition does mean that the timer is paused. So unlike practice sessions where the timer counts down, the session is paused. So we will still get the full 14 minutes and 51 seconds remaining. It's ugly, but the rest of the liveries make up for them. True, true. It's a tortoise shell print. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's disgusting is what it is. I don't care if it's a tortoise shell print or whatever, but... yes, Ted is bald. Yeah, Hadjar has just crashed, so that's why he's out of this qualifying session. So there's one spot. There's one spot already freed up for Q1. Or into Q2, basically. He was already gone out. Would a sprint give Yuki a burst of confidence? No, probably not. Probably not. He's still struggling in that car. But... we'll see how he fares when it comes to qualifying. Of course, they got caught up in that pack of cars yesterday that didn't make it across the start-finish line to attempt a second run. So we'll see if, hopefully, that doesn't happen again here. And we'll see if anyone has learned their lessons from yesterday. Yeah, I know. My spelling on the poll, I'm sorry. It's getting late here in the UK, and I didn't get a good night's sleep last night, so apologies. But yes... ending the poll there, unsurprisingly, Max Verstappen, your sprint pole and your sprint winner, 67%, Norris 16%, Piastri 11%, and George Russell 6%. So I don't think George Russell is going to get pole position, but I have a sneaky suspicion that they found some race pace earlier, as we touched upon. I think it would have been interesting to see Mercedes... start on a fresh set of mediums rather than 5-lap older tyres than that of Verstappen. Because, yeah, I think they could have pushed it. We wouldn't have seen just a single attempt by George or Max. I think we could have seen multiple. Favourite driver's Norsey. No one set a lap yet. No, Hadjar was literally, I think, the first driver out there to start... well, I think Gasly actually was the first driver out there to start setting a lap time. There was only a couple of them who had actually gone through the first sector, and Hadjar then crashed. So... oh, the clip. Sorry, yeah, the pinned comment. Is there a pinned comment at the moment? I don't think there is a pinned comment, is there? I can't show the accident, James, unfortunately, because it'd be copyright strike. So, yeah, I mean, you can go on Twitter and find probably some clips very quickly on there. But, yeah, for copyright reasons on YouTube, I cannot show you live coverage. Hence why we do things here via the live data and the track map. But I am watching the TV coverage here in support as a replay tool for you, so you know exactly what has occurred. I may get the actual incident incorrect, and maybe who's at fault. Incorrect at first, because I don't know who's hit who via just the data and the track map, but I will very quickly be able to inform you all of that. But we have drivers making their way to the end of the pit lane as Q1 will resume at 14 minutes past the hour. So just under 3 minutes time, basically. Who do I think was at fault earlier, David? The blame is fully to lie at Piastri. However, I do think it is a racing incident. So what caused Hadjar to crash into... so it does look like, yeah, he just covered too much curb on the entry to turn 6, and the car lost downforce, or the rear in particular lost downforce, and it sent him into a spin. So yeah, driver error, and that's why he was so frustrated in the car, because it wasn't a car failure, it was his own doing. Lewis still on mediums. We don't know yet. We won't know what the drivers are on until they leave the pit lane, but it is a very busy pit lane. They are all queuing at the end of the pit lane as it currently stands. So, yes, we will get some laps very, very quickly. Hang on. Does Max have a chance to get pole? Of course he does. Of course he does. Did you not see yesterday where he got pole position? Of course he can. Dan, you don't know if he went over more curb on the turns up to it, but then the grip just disappeared when he went off, but only just caught the curb. Yeah, the problem is that with these with these ground effect cars, if you head over any bumps or if you head over any like curbs, which they can't, I think they're serrated. Are they serrated curbs here? But especially with how there's quite a bit of elevation, even through the S's, there's elevations that you're going through there. It means that the connection of the floor to the tarmac or the ground itself can be broken, and that can just mean a sudden loss in downforce with these cars. So that's probably what occurred with him. Wow, they're queuing in the pit with 2 minutes before restarting. Yeah, they don't want to miss out. They don't want to miss out at all. What do I think about Zach Brown blaming Hulk for the crash, saying he had no business being there? I can understand why, in an immediate reaction, he would blame Hulkenberg. I get that. I've seen plenty of people, initially, their first reaction was, oh, Hulkenberg went into Piastri. But after looking at it from a few different angles, the people have then assessed, rightfully so, that it was Oscar's sharp, sudden cutback that caused the incident. Hulkenberg had his car in a position where it was rightfully allowed to be. So if they continue to back Piastri in that incident and lay the blame on Hulkenberg, then they're totally at fault, and they should come out and they should hopefully eventually come out and apologise. But I haven't seen any further comment from Zach Brown other than I think what was kind of initially said on the pit wall. So, but they should come out and apologise to Hulkenberg because it's not his fault. It was his own driver's doing. So, do I think both Ferraris are going to be in Q3? I mean, we saw how close it was for them to get into Q3 yesterday. Only by 0.06 of a second, Hamilton got ahead of Kimi Antonelli. I think they will. I think they will on the softs. But who knows with Ferrari? They're clearly not got the car here this weekend. The sprint race flattered them as it's green light, pit exit open. The sprint race flattered them because they did not have a car to finish in the positions that they did. It was only because, obviously, multiple cars in front of them crashed. So... exactly, guys. It's not Hulk's fault. I get. You can always. I always take what people say in the moment with a pinch of salt, because I've experienced it many times in sim racing. I know it's not the same thing, but seeing things at a first glance. I even do it here when I'm watching the TV coverage. I'll give you my first thoughts on it from the first look that I see of it occurring, but you can only really make a proper decision and opinion on things until you've seen multiple angles, because sometimes a certain angle is deceiving. We need to see an onboard shot, exactly what the driver was doing in the cockpit, etc. So yeah, initially I thought it was Norris who had done the cutback and crashed because I got the helmets mixed up. So yeah, when you go back and watch the watch-along, you'll see me blaming Lando Norris, but it's only when I see the replay I'm like, oh, two different helmets, and it was actually Piastri who was the cause of the incident. So, do I think Verstappen can win all remaining races? Don't think so. No. I mean, he can, but will he? I don't. Just my personal opinion. I don't think he will. But never say never. Just like we saw in the sprint race earlier, it is possible. And the two that are going for their first World Drivers' Championship, for so long it's just been all focused about themselves, and McLaren as well haven't been helping them either with the whole papaya rules and repercussions, ridiculousness. Max is just quietly going about his business, just chipping away, and then before you know it, he's there. He's there. So, yeah, I've had some stoppages in my own Sky coverage as well, so. Piastri crumbling after Singapore. Is it after Singapore or Baku? But anyway, we have drivers on flying laps at the moment. So let's stay on board with, I think Nico Hülkenberg is on a push lap right now. So let's stay on board with Nico Hülkenberg, shall we? As he's making his way through the first sector. Can he do something amazing again here? Of course, qualified P4 yesterday in the sprint race, sprint quali. Really unfortunate to get caught up in that incident through no fault of his own on that turn 1, lap 1 incident earlier on in the sprint race. He is making his way through turn 11. Gabriel Bortoleto just pipped him in that first sector though. Bortoleto was someone who had his lap time deleted yesterday in sprint quali, and then he was in that pack but was unable to start their final lap due to the jostling that they were doing. But you can see there Alex Albon quickest for the first sector at the moment of 25.4. We have seen considerably quicker than that, but that is Alex Albon on a set of used soft compound tyres as well, which is interesting. Multiple drivers here on used softs, as Norris and Piastri are only just making their way out of the pit lane now. But we'll keep an eye on Nico Hülkenberg. 38.0 for him in the middle sector. His teammate is only slightly ahead of him at the moment by a few hundredths of a second. So Hülkenberg has a bit of work to do here in the last couple of corners. He won't get held up by Franco Colapinto, you would suspect, as he makes his way round the last corner. And Nico Hülkenberg, what is the benchmark time that he is going to set here? It is a 34.3. So, bit more to be desired by Nico Hülkenberg. The track temperature, just for your information, though, is very hot. A lot hotter than it was yesterday by about 3 degrees, I think. So 46.2 degrees. That can make all the difference between your car performing and not, as we have seen these cars be very, very temperamental and sensitive to track fluctuations, even the wind as well. That also plays a factor, so keep an eye on that. We have seen gusts of up to 20 kilometres an hour today at the top of your screen there. So at the moment, it's staying at a constant 7.98 kilometres an hour, but we have seen it with the significant elevation change that occurs here at Circuit Americas play an important role. As Alex Albon has his lap time deleted. Alex Albon, lap time deleted. He's in the pit lane, so not good from him there. As Behrman moves up into P2, and Gabriel Bortoleto had an error, I think, in the last sector, because that's a 34.7 for him. And yes, that last sector was a 31.1, so he lost half a second almost on his teammate in the last sector. But let's stay on board with Fernando Alonso, the driver who got caught out, another driver who was a victim there and retired on the first lap. Liam Lawson up into a P1 of 34.2. That was on a fresh set of softs. Fernando Alonso is on a fresh set as well. Max Verstappen, though, on a used set of softs, goes purple in the first sector. As Lando Norris is back in the pit lane, which is interesting. No doubt probably going to put on a fresh set of boots. As Alonso does a 33.7. Our first driver here in Q1 to get into the 33. Franco Colapinto moves up into P6. So let's stay on board with Max as he makes his way down the back straight here. And Stroll comes across the line and goes P6. Stroll is 8 tenths off of his teammate. Lance Stroll does have 2 penalty points on his licence and a 5-place grid penalty for that incident with Esteban Ocon earlier on, which brought out the late safety car and caused the sprint race to end under safety car conditions, rightfully so. So Stroll will have 5-place grid penalty for him. He's currently in 7th at the moment and no doubt going to get worse. Alonso, though, quicker than George Russell. And he's second fastest there. A tenth behind Alonso, and Antonelli's 2 tenths behind Alonso as well. Very interesting. Max Verstappen, though, across the line, goes quickest, a 33.590 on a used set of softs, 1.5 tenths quicker than Alonso. A good lap time from him. So Norris, yes, is out on a brand new set of softs. Oscar Piastri is on a push lap at the moment. He does a 25.3 in that first sector. That's 2 tenths slower than Verstappen, as Charles Leclerc goes quickest, 0.06 of a second over Max Verstappen, but he's on a brand new set of softs. So do take that with a pinch of salt, guys. Ferrari are not back. They're not back. Take a pinch of salt there. As Lewis Hamilton is also on a fresh set of softs. So no medium runs for Lewis Hamilton. That red flag maybe has saved some blushes for the Ferrari team, as he is now doing a push lap on a set of brand new softs. 25.2 in the first sector, 37.7 in the middle sector. Oscar Piastri at the moment is a 25.3 in the first sector. I tell you what, he's neck and neck with Lewis Hamilton at the moment, Oscar Piastri. He's catching a bit of traffic, and he's actually backed out, I think, unless that was him just going a bit slow out of turn 15, as Lewis Hamilton comes across the line and goes third fastest there. So a bit of a slow last sector for Lewis Hamilton compared to his teammate. But let's see how Oscar Piastri fares around the last corner for him. Where can he go? Needs to pick up the pace, and he's 3/10 off of Charles Leclerc. So both McLarens are in working order for this race. Of course, we know that they had to have brand new, I think Lando Norris had to have a whole new rear ends or new rear right and rear left suspension changes. Oscar Piastri had to have both front rights changed. The floor needed to be changed as well. So that will potentially affect the performance of this McLaren here this weekend, especially when it comes to setup as well. Of course, they'll try and have the same setup configuration that they had when it came to the sprint race and got them to start second and third. But Oscar Piastri, maybe is he suffering from a bit of confidence after that crash earlier on? Of course, he is always a bit of a slow burner when it comes to building into race weekends. So Q3 is definitely where it matters. So do not fear just yet, Oscar Piastri fans. Lando did get a sneaky little toe, did he, as he went down the start-finish straight. Well, I tell you what, though, that first sector is a mistake from Lando, because he is the slowest out of everyone in that first sector. So Lando has made a conscious error in that first sector. I think he may have locked up into turn 1. So he is going slow, Lando, right now, and will be cooling down his tyres to go for another push lap. So yeah, Lando did make a conscious error there. And not into... Oh, big moment! Big moment for Norris. So yeah, he was already 4/10 down in the first sector, and then he had a big snap of oversteer through turn 10. So where did he have that? Where did he have... Oh, yeah, so he's just covering too much curb, and then the car stepped out on him, and he really had to recover through turn 10. So pressure on for the McLaren team. Lando will be slowing down to go for another push lap here, but he is on used some of that tyre already, as we know. But I do suspect that there is going to be some more push laps here, and no doubt another run. We have George Russell on a fresh set of tyres, as is Yuki Tsunoda as well. We saw yesterday that the later you go out, the quicker you go with the track evolution. So Lando Norris, confirmation there of his lap time being deleted, track limits at turn 9, but he was already 4/10 down when he got to that corner. So we'll see how he fares. Pressure on for Norris, as Oscar Piastri is actually staying... Is he in the pit lane, Oscar Piastri? I think he's doing a second cool-down lap, Oscar Piastri, on this same set of tyres. So interesting strategy here from the McLarens. But let's see how Norris fares. He has Antonelli ahead of him on his outlap. Let's see if it's much better for Norris. And it's a 25.355 in the first sector. That's only 200ths quicker than that of Oscar Piastri, and 2/10 down on Max Verstappen. So not a good Q1 at the moment for the McLaren team. However, we have seen that the McLaren is much more stronger in the last sector. But of course, it's just about getting through into Q3 and seeing what they can do. But pressure is on at the moment. Carlos Sainz out there. He is in P4. He is on a set of brand new set of tyres. He's coming into the pit lane, so he feels okay. And there we go, a purple middle sector for Lando Norris. So maybe taking it just a bit cooler in the first setup. I'm not in the quali setup, am I not? Oh, there we go, quali setup. Apologies there, guys. Carry over from the session earlier on. Quali layout, here we go, so you can see the speeds as Norris is making his way round through turn 19. So purple in the middle sector. Here we go through turn 20. Where can he go? And it is across the line, and a much better lap time for Norris. But what has he done in that last sector? He's 11th fastest in that last sector, Norris. So has he kept it within track limits? That will be the key here, but he's only 7th fastest. So, guys, please bear with. Of course, I will always try and get to your comments and, of course, change things over. But, yeah. Nice commentary in the chat, please. So just watching Lando, and that car looked very twitchy. The car looks twitchy. Interesting. Very interesting. You heard there will be new quali rule from next year. Is this true? Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. Thank you, Sean, for the 199, by the way, for reminding me I'm not in quality layout. So, yeah, big thank you. But we'll see if that's enough for them. Will it be enough for him? George Russell fastest in the middle sector. He's just gone a full tenth quicker than Norris in that middle sector, and his first sector isn't too shabby as well. So have Mercedes discovered something? That's why I included him in the poll. So let's see how he fares. Oscar Piastri is going for his second push lap on the same set of tyres. Will Norris have enough time to do a cool-down lap and go again? I think he will on this same set of tyres. As Max is on a brand new set. So very interesting that Max is on a second brand new set. So that's the improvement that they think is going to be occurring out there. And well, George Russell goes top with a 33.3. So there we go, on a brand new set of tyres. So there is improvements to be made out there. And that is why we are seeing Max Verstappen in particular on a brand new set of tyres as he makes his way into turn one. He has Lewis Hamilton ahead of him, who is on a set of used compound tyres. So they think maybe they're okay as it currently stands. But we'll stay on board with Verstappen as Suzuki only moves up into P9. Remember, Isaac Hadjar is already out of this Q1 session as Antonelli moves up into P2 in this Q1 session to make it a 1-2 for the Mercedes team. Very, very good lap from him. Of course, suffered from his cooling vest failing yesterday and actually heating him up and doing the complete opposite as to what it's designed to do in the qualifying yesterday, which he did say impacted him. No doubt it would impact you if it's making you hotter rather than cooler. So yes, Antonelli looking for a good qualifying here and trying to get into Q3. But Verstappen, let's keep an eye on him, shall we? It's a 25.164, so it's 0.06 of a second slower in that first sector than it was previously on a used set of tyres. But no doubt that brand new set is going to come to him as this lap unfolds. A 37.6 for him. That's good. That's an improvement from him. Not the fastest we've seen, but it is second fastest only to George Russell as it currently stands. Lando Norris is going on a push lap again now as well. We'll see how he fares. Oscar Piastri, is he already bowed out of that lap? Oscar has bowed out of that lap. A 25.3 from him in the first sector and a 57.0 in the second. So not a good Q1 showing for the McLaren drivers, who the mechanics have had to work tirelessly on over the last 3 hours. If Verstappen does go quickest, unsurprisingly, those soft compound tyres coming alive at the end of the lap there. A 33.2 from him takes him a 10th ahead of George Russell. Oscar Piastri is going again. Oscar Piastri is going again, so they're doing multiple laps on this set of soft compound tyres. Lando Norris's first sector is still not great. His first sector at the moment, his best first sector, Lando Norris, is currently 17th fastest. So he's not having a good time in that first sector, the McLaren, and it's slower in the second sector as well. So really, Lando isn't going to improve here. Unless it's a mega last sector for him, he isn't going to improve, and he finds himself in P10. But there's lots of green sectors below him, and that's the important thing. You can see there, Gasly improving. Stroll moves up into P11. He has a 5-place grid penalty anyway, as we know. Behrman has finished his lap. He's in P12. Yuki is at risk here in the pits. Could it be another Q1 exit for Yuki Tsunoda as Ocon only moves up into P16? Bortoletto is at risk at the moment. Liam Lawson, can he improve? Lando Norris does a green last sector, but he doesn't improve his time as Sainz goes quickest in the first sector. A 25.0 from him. So this track, the later you go out, it's risky as Lawson moves up into 5th. What a lap time from Liam Lawson there. Wow, last RB car out there with his teammate, no doubt starting last tomorrow as Gasly moves up into P7. Some real late laps here being chucked in and potentially putting the McLarens at risk. I don't think there's any more really can improve. No, so the McLarens aren't at risk. Colapinto moves up into P15. Albon is going quickest though. He's gone quickest out of anyone in the first sector. Those Williams are flying at the moment. He's going to have to be careful, Albon, but he doesn't make any errors. Carlos Sainz giving his teammate, no doubt, a cheeky little toe down the middle back straight. He is the driver who is at risk now. He is the only driver out there really who is worthy of watching. We can see Lewis Hamilton there. He'll probably be pitting, or will he be coming around the last corner to actually set a lap time? Well, he is actually going to set a lap time and improve on a set of used compound tyres. Oh, no, he didn't, because the last sector was pretty poor. But it's green in the middle sector for Alex Albon. But it is only 16th fastest, so that middle sector is not particularly quick. The Williams have set up very well for that first sector, but the second sector is where they're losing quite a bit of time, maybe potentially a bit draggy, that team at Williams. But it is enough for Alex Albon as he makes his way up into P8. A good lap time from him. And, well, that is it for Q1. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Franco Colapinto, Gabriel Bortoletto again, Esteban Ocon again, Lance Stroll once again, is out in Q1, and Isaac Hadjar, we know, was a very early retirement from this session, bringing out that very early red flag for crashing into turn 6, and, well, he is out and will be starting dead last tomorrow as well. Lance always finds a way. He always finds a way. So that is Q1 over and done with. Very interesting turn of events there. Nico Hulkenberg once again up there in P6. Great lap by Liam Lawson as well at 33.5. It does show that this track just does ramp up. Interestingly as well is that track temperature fell half a degree. I wonder if it's small margins, but these cars and tyres are so sensitive now in their current iteration, the last year of this regulation set. Maybe that was a difference there with that track ramping up at the end. So we will see how it fares into Q2. But McLaren, I mean, it was a bit of a messy Q1 for McLaren, wasn't it? It was a messy... Oh, no, Albon, track limits again. No. Oh, no, Alex Albon, P19. Well, I believe he had something similar last year as well. But Franco is into Q2. It is a double Q2 for Alpine. So well done, Alex Albon. Where did he get that track limits violation? I'm yet to see a replay. I wonder if it's for the last couple of corners. He has turn 15. So Albon, we exceeded track limits at turn 15. That's quite odd. That is quite odd there. Interesting, very interesting. What's wrong with the Ferraris? That's the question everyone wants to know, isn't it? That's the $1 million question. Actually, I think we know. They just created a flawed design, a flawed car. So watching the onboard of Alex Albon, he hits the apex. Ah, no. As he gets on throttle for the exit of the apex of turn 15, he has a snap of oversteer, and he knew. He knew. Oh, no, he didn't know. He said, for what corner? He goes, can you check? Because I feel like my front left tyres were on. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so, looking at that. I don't think so, looking at that. But maybe they'll look at it. What's wrong with McLaren? Well, the thing that is wrong with McLaren is that they took a fair old whack in the sprint race earlier on. And the team have been having to spend the last 3 hours repairing those two cars. So maybe the setup has been affected and it's not the same as it was. But also it can just be a case of just driver error as well, the tyres. So yeah, there's many a reason. But we'll see if they can get it together when it comes to Q2 now and Q3. If it's more of the same in Q2, then I think Q3, we could see a very big change up at the order. It's going to be very interesting. Is there something wrong with McLaren's now, or are they just taking it easy in Q3? I don't think they're taking it easy by any means, no. When have we seen the McLarens down in 11th and 12th? I'll show you the sector times as well. As Q2 will start at 36 minutes, so in a couple of minutes' time. Let's have a look at the sector times here, and well, you can see, look at that. Lando Norris is in the bottom 3, or bottom 5, shall we say, for Sector 1 and Sector 3. Unbelievable scenes there. So not a good quality for Lando Norris. Bit better, of course, for Oscar Piastri, 11th, 6th and 7th. But you can see there that Verstappen is in the top 3 in all of them. 3rd, 2nd, 1st in Sector 1, 2, then 3. So the Mercedes are definitely a team to look out for as well. They struggled yesterday in the sprint quali, but they seem to maybe have found a bit of pace. So do I remember you asking Mike after the sprint race, will they have these cars ready in 3 hours? You said yes, but the trouble is the state they are in. Well, it's not so much the state they are in; it's probably more so the dialing in of the setup. They may have just been rushed. They may not have been able to get the setup done in time. Of course, different parts don't always necessarily perform in the same manner as the parts that you've had on the car and done countless laps in already via practice and then the sprint quali. So, yeah, there's always that. And there can always be sometimes errors issues that arise in the car mechanically when they get back out on the road. You could do all the testing possible and make sure that everything is in working order in the garage, but until it actually gets out there on the road, you don't know. if something is maybe underperforming, is weaker because of the crashes that happened earlier on. So, yeah. They forgot to overclock the McLarens, yeah. Leclerc was just 0.010 slower on the same tyres in the second try. Was he really? I think that's a clear indication of the track state improving. So keep an eye on that track temperature, guys. 45.6 degrees it is at the moment. It was 46.3, 46.4 when we started qualifying. So the cooler it gets, the better it will be on the tyres, because they'll be able to keep them in a much more more ideal operating window throughout this lap. The problem here is overheating of the tyres, especially when they're pushing as hard as they are in quali. So here we go, green light, pit exit open, we go again, Q2. 15 minutes for this session, and well, Ollie Bearman is the first driver out there, and well, we'll see if they're going to be on used tyres or brand new tyres, as Ollie Bearman is on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. George Russell, is he on used tyres or is he on brand new? We'll get an indication of that shortly. Antonelli's on brand new tyres. So can Antonelli get into Q3? It looks like he has the pace. He just needs a lap, I say a decent lap. Of course he needs a decent lap. He just needs a lap, I think, really. I think that Mercedes definitely has pace, and he has pace in that car. So let's hope that he keeps it within track limits. So, hey, Glenn, good to see you, mate, good day. Where do I think Nico will qualify? I hope Nico will qualify P4 again. I really do. I think he deserves a do-over after what happened earlier on in the sprint race. So I really... I mean, everyone's talking, of course, about Piastri and Norris, but no one's really talking about Hulkenberg. No one's really talking about how a disservice was done to him earlier on. He should have had the opportunity to fight for a top 5 there. You've seen people criticise Antonelli for not performing to the hype Mercedes have made, but they forgot that he skipped F3, and Williams also given some mechanical errors. He has been doing well. I think overall, when you sit down and look at Antonelli's rookie season, I think there's more positives than there are negatives, to be honest with you. So, yeah. I did a breakdown video of it when, I think, at the midway point of the season, when he was getting a lot of flack. But when you actually break down the performances he's had this year, yes, there's been some rookie errors, as you expect from a rookie, especially one as young as him, 18 years old, and being thrust into the pressure environment of Mercedes. I think, ultimately, it's better to get a driver up to speed in F1 rather than it is in F2, to be honest with you, especially with the whole media circus and the pressure of F1. Bed them in as early as you possibly can, of course, within reason, as long as there's safeguarding procedures there for them. So, yeah, clearly, I think Mercedes have backed him and supported him very well. So, but we'll see. He needs to get a lap time in here, doesn't he? He failed to qualify in into Q3 yesterday. And that's really the area that he needs to improve on, is his qualifying. George, we know, is a very good qualifier, and we know how difficult it has been to overtake in this regulation set. So Antonelli needs to sort out his qualifying and ensure that he gets into Q3 so that he can start higher up and have better performing races. So if he starts in Q2, as we've seen the Red Bull drivers for so often starting Q2, it's very difficult for you to make up positions unless via strategy, etc. So let's stay on board with Kimi Antonelli, shall we? As he is the driver first. Well, Ollie Bearman's actually the first driver out there. And it's 25.0 from Kimi Antonelli, and that is nearly the fastest first sector time we have seen in qualifying right now. As this track temperature, I said keep an eye out on it, it has fallen to 44 degrees. So that is over 2 degrees that we have seen fall in track temperature since the start of this session, as we're getting later in the day here at Texas at Circuit of the Americas. So Liam Lawson, a 25.2 from him. George Russell, a 25.1. That's a very, very good first sector for Antonelli. George Russell is on a set of used soft compound tyres, though, so don't expect him to set a lap time, but it's maybe going to be quicker than his teammate because he has that additional grip. A 37.494. That is the fastest middle sector we have seen for anyone today thus far. Kimi Antonelli is fastest of 37.494 at the moment. No one else out there is currently matching his pace. George Russell is close, but as we know, he has used tyres at the moment. As Bearman goes fastest with a 33.2, a good lap time from him. As Sainz goes fastest in the first sector. That is really quick, the Williams in the first sector. As Antonelli does a 33 flat A very good lap time from him. Loses a bit of time in the last sector, but as long as he has kept it within track limits, that should be a decent benchmark, maybe. Bearman, I'd be worried maybe that Bearman has set a lap time only 2 tenths slower than Kimi Antonelli on a same set of brand new soft tyres. But we'll see. Verstappen starting his lap as well. We'll keep an eye on the big boys starting their laps. Lando Norris is also starting his lap as well as he makes his way past Antonelli. Liam Lawson, 3 tenths behind Antonelli there on a brand new set of tyres, 33.3 from him. So George Russell, no doubt, will be into the pit lane. He's got a banker lap in, but that banker lap is not going to be sufficient, you suspect, to get through to Q3. So he will be out. He'll be back into the pit lane and putting on a fresh set of tyres, no doubt. Pierre Gasly making his way round the last corner. Where can he put that Alpine? We've seen him sneak that Alpine into Q3 multiple times this year, but it does seem like that Alpine, unfortunately, is not able to match its competitors and is arguably one of the slowest cars on the grid at the moment. Fastest first sector for Verstappen, a 24.973, the first sub 25 seconds we have seen in that first sector as he's on a fresh set of tyres, making his way down the back straight as we speak. DRS open. Nico Hulkenberg, though, has gone fastest out of anyone in the middle sector until Lando Norris made his way through it, as Lando has now picked up the pace. That's a much better first sector and, of course, the fastest middle sector we have seen thus far today. Carlos Sainz, while I was speaking there, has done a lap time of a 33.124, only 800ths of a second behind Antonelli. And Nico Hulkenberg, unfortunately, couldn't follow up that brilliant middle sector with a quick last sector there, and he slots into P5. Gasly has his lap time deleted there, confirmation lap time deleted through the last corner as well. What can Lando set? A 32.8 for Lando Norris, the first sub 33-minute time. How can Max Verstappen respond? He's slightly got the edge at the moment because that first sector time. Oh, and it's a great last sector from the Dutchman. A 32.71 and nearly 2 tenths put on the McLaren of Lando Norris. Advantage Max Verstappen it is at the moment. Let's stay on board with Oscar Piastri, shall we? As he makes his way through turn 14, the flat-out right-hander, triple right-hander here into the braking zone of turn 19. Needs to ensure he keeps it within track limits. It's only green. There's no purple here for Oscar Piastri, and his first sector is only 15th fastest. Where will this put Oscar Piastri? 5th fastest, half a second on brand new tyres behind Max Verstappen, and 3 tenths behind his teammates. Oof, that is a bit of a gut punch for Oscar Piastri at the moment when he gets back to the pit lane and looks at the leaderboard. Charles Leclerc comes across the finish line and goes second. A fastest last sector for Charles Leclerc. Where has that Ferrari found some pace? Let's keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton, shall we? He's actually quicker than Charles Leclerc in the middle sector. They're about neck and neck, and he goes 4th fastest. They've got to be running an illegal setup. They've got to be running an illegal setup, the Ferraris. Surely. Surely. DQ incoming tomorrow with excessive plank wear for Ferrari in the race tomorrow. Or no, actually, it will be lift and coast after the first lap. It'll be Charles, Lewis. We know you've had amazing starts. You've got up to P1 and P2, but we need you to lift and coast. Lyco after lap 2. So we will see. Charles said he found something during the sprint, but how legal is what he found? We will see. We will see. This is multi-viewer, Thomas. So, interesting. Oscar Piastri, half a second off of Max Verstappen and 3 tenths off of his teammate. Now, we have seen how this track state does ramp up, and the later you go out, the quicker it becomes. We also have Nico Hulkenberg yet to set a lap time on a fresh set of tyres. I missed that there. I didn't realise he wasn't on a fresh set of tyres. We have George Russell yet to set a lap time on a fresh set of tyres. We have Alonso yet to set a lap time on a fresh set of tyres. So there are drivers out there who have improvements in their back pocket. So Oscar Piastri really needs to put his finger out, to be honest with you. As Sonoda is saying, Lawson is disturbing me on purpose. He's slowing down in the corners, is what Yuki is complaining about in relation to Liam Lawson. Come on, Yuki. Like, come on. Conor Pinto almost did the same as Hadjar. Did he really? Oof. How do stewards check ride height for quali? So they'll do post they'll do post. So they don't do it for post quali. They do it in the post race. So the cars are in parc ferme. The FIA does check the cars to make. Like, they're basically kind of under lock and key overnight. They're not able to do any work on them, and the FIA do their scrutineering checks after the race because they're in parc ferme rules now. They can't change anything in relation to the suspension and stuff like that when it comes to ride height. The only way that they can change the ride height is through tyre pressures, which you are allowed to adjust. But of course, the more tyre pressure that you add into the wheel, into the tyre, sorry, the less contact patch you're going to have with the track surface, which means you're going to lose speed, generally speaking. So that was what the theory was that happened, or one of the many reasons as to why Charles Leclerc fell off a cliff when it came to Hungary. One was the battery usage, or the engine mode, and of course the added tyre pressures in the hard compound tyre that he put on back in Hungary. So that is one of the methods that you can use, but it's it's not an optimal strategy. So, yeah. Right. Here we go, guys. Let's stay on board with George Russell, shall we? Very interesting pace from the Mercedes yesterday. I keep saying yesterday. Today, in the sprint race. It was not that long ago it occurred. Because George Russell started on 5-lap older tyres than Max Verstappen. And he only really had one opportunity. He said it himself and he went for it. But the pace, I think, was there in the sprint race if he was on the same age of tyre to take it to Max Verstappen, and that would have been very eventful to see. So let's see if the Mercedes can start a bit higher up this race this time around in qualifying. George Russell didn't expect to be fighting for podium positions here, but he was a big beneficiary of that incident earlier on in the sprint race between the McLarens and Alonso and stuff. So let's see how George Russell fares here. He's on a brand new set of tyres. Here he goes, making his way through the S's. And George Russell, who's just signed a brand new contract with Mercedes. A multi-year contract, supposedly. We don't know the exact length of that multi-year contract. It could be 1+1. It could be 2+2. Who knows? But there is an agreed contract in place now, as there is for Kimi Antonelli as well. So George Russell, a 25.0 from him in the first sector, and that's full fastest. So that's a good first sector for George Russell. Let's see if he's able to improve in the second sector. We're looking at around a 37.4, really, for George Russell. A 37.3 would be tremendous. Only Norris and Verstappen have got into the 37.3s at the moment. He's going to be making his way out of the second sector any moment now as he exits turn 12. And, well, is it a purple? No, it's a 37.5. So it's not a great middle sector for George Russell at the moment. Has to pick up the pace in the last sector. We're looking at a 30.2, 30.3 will be good for George Russell if he's going to make up some time there on a bit of a slow middle sector. Making his way around turn 19. He needs to keep it within track limits, of course. He doesn't want to do what Pierre Gasly did or Alex Albon and exceed track limits through turn 19. Do all that hard work, do the whole lap and do track limits on the last corner. And it's P5. Oh dear, that's not a good lap for George Russell. So maybe some issues there with tyre warm-up. Maybe his prep lap wasn't correct and he didn't have the level of grip available to him. So we'll see if he doesn't. I think he's got another opportunity at a cool-down lap. But it's very tight. Only a couple of attempts separates him and Ollie Behrman in P10. Of course, needs to be improvements for Nico Hülkenberg, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, Colapinto, and Pierre Gasly. Oscar Piastri is making his way out the pit lane now as well. Is he on a brand new set? Lando Norris is on a used set of tyres at the moment. Max Verstappen is not coming out the pit lane. So he thinks he's sufficient. So I don't think there's going to be half a second improvement here. The track temperature has remained the same as it was when it started, 44 degrees at the moment. A couple of degrees down from what we had earlier on at the start of this session. But let's stay on board with Nico Hülkenberg and Yuki Tsunoda, as Yuki is just ahead of Hülkenberg. This is an important session for Yuki. Can he get into Q3? A 25.1 for him in the first sector. It's slightly quicker, 0.04 of a second quicker than that of Nico Hülkenberg. Needs to be a big improvement, you do think, here for both Yuki and Nico Hülkenberg. What a great story it would be if Hülkenberg could get into Q3 once again. But as we stay with Yuki, making his way through turn 13, is the effectiveness of Gasly's dirty air going to get in the way? He's already complained about Liam Lawson slowing down for the corners. Let's see if Yuki is going to be upset with his former teammate Pierre Gasly there. Seems to have navigated his way okay through that second sector, but it's a 37.6, not very good for Yuki Tsunoda. That's considerably slower than what his previous best was. So he has it all to do in this last couple of corners, Yuki, as Antonelli sits the fastest middle sector out of anyone on a brand new set of tyres. He's flying there as Yuki doesn't improve, and Yuki is out of Q2. A poor performance for Yuki. How about Nico Hulkenberg, though? It's slow in the middle sector, and it's slow in the last sector, and Nico is out of Q2. He will not be making it through into Q3. Kimi Antonelli comes around the last corner and loses a bit of time there in that last corner. Maybe he knew he was already going to be through. Colapinto, Lawson is not improving here as well. Colapinto is really the only driver here who can improve as we stay with Colapinto making his way down into and Pierre Gasly, the two Alpine drivers. They're really the only drivers out there now who will be able to start another lap, I believe. I think Behrman is Behrman pushing at the moment? No, Behrman is out there. He's got 22 seconds. He's not going to have enough time to start his lap. I think he's had an error somewhere in that middle sector, which is why he's very slow. So Behrman most definitely at risk here, as also is Fernando Alonso, as Hulkenberg actually has his lap time deleted for track limits in the turn 19. So that's why his time was slow. He probably knew he exceeded the track limits. But Colapinto is improving. Green in the first sector, green in the second. Let's see how he fares. Checkered flag is out. So that is it for everyone out there at the moment. All eyes on the two Alpine drivers. It's a slow middle sector, though, for Colapinto. Pierre Gasly is definitely improving. So Colapinto, where can he move up? He is going to improve here undoubtedly on his previous best, but that wasn't very good anyway, and it's a full 1.3 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and well over 8 tenths slower than that of Ollie Behrman in P10. So Behrman survives for now, but it's all eyes on the Frenchman, Pierre Gasly across the line. And he only gets ahead of his teammates. The smallest, not a lot of margin there really. 4 tenths quicker, and he moves into P14. Lando Norris is out there. Hamilton was improving as why. Why is Lewis on a push lap? Why is he on a... Not even why is Lewis on a push lap. Why is he on a brand new set of softs? Why is he on a brand new set of softs? There's just no need. There's just no need. I don't... They've done this before. It doesn't make sense. Help it make sense, ladies and gents. Do you know what I said? I'm losing words. I'm losing words. Why is he on a brand new set of softs? When was Lewis ever at risk? His lap time previous to this was 2 tenths quicker. I swear to God. Lewis better have 2 brand new sets of softs available to him. He better have 2 brand new sets of softs available to him when it comes to Q3. Otherwise, that right there is just another thing to add to the very long list of Ferrari things. So strange, very, very, very strange. So yeah, not entirely sure there. Piastri's on brand new softs as well. I understand Piastri being on brand new softs because he was, I think, definitely at risk. But there was clearly no improvement from those cars there, and the track state actually didn't improve that much. Oh my goodness, Ollie Behrman, Ollie. Big moment from him through the exact same corner that Isaac Hadjar lost control as well. So I think the car is grounding out through the curbing, through turn 5 and 6. So they need to be careful there. So that's a clear indication as to what happened with Isaac Hadjar earlier. But Ferrari drivers just believe Ferrari wins and not in their stretches. Lewis always did that to his softs back in the day. Did he really? Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe if it's a Lewis decision, it's just as bizarre. I don't know why Lewis has done that. Unless they have the tyres available to use. If they have the tyres available to use, then fair enough. But if they don't, it doesn't make sense. So we'll see. I haven't heard anything on the radio, but yes. Anyway, we have lost Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, and Colapinto there from Q2. So unfortunately, no more heroics from Nico Hulkenberg, but he still has the race ahead of him tomorrow. Sainz into Q3 again. Great from him. Fernando Alonso in Q3 again. How often do we say that? And much better from Antonelli, actually setting a lap time slightly quicker than his teammate in P5 there. So very well done from Kimi Antonelli. Quick lube break from myself as the session will be getting back underway in 5 minutes' time. Just 2 seconds, guys. oi, 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 oi. Right. Hamilton's car is bouncing in turns without touching the curb. Yeah, that's not very good, is it? That's not very good at all. Lewis does have 2 sets of softs. Remember, he went mediums on the first stint in Q3. Yeah, but then he switched to softs anyway. Yeah, Yuki wasn't happy with Gasly. I did say, would Yuki be happy with Gasly? Clearly he isn't. Clearly he isn't, so... right, so here we go. Q3 about to get back underway, guys. Hope you are enjoying the stream. It's been a very long day. If you are yet to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated. And hit the like button as well. Get this stream to 1,000 likes. Can we get a second stream here with up to 1,000 likes? It'd be much appreciated in the day. I'm in the UK. Yes, I am in the UK, yeah. Yeah, it's approaching... It's nearly 11 PM at the moment, so... You can't hear me. Of course you can hear me. Turn your volume up. My pit stop was 1 minute 7 seconds. Yeah, not my quickest. Not my quickest. But a very good job by Oscar Piastri. So let's see what the teams are going to be able to achieve here. As you are all suspecting, as I am suspecting as well, what has happened to that Ferrari? How is Ferrari P2 and P4 at the moment? Of course, Q3 is where it matters, but no one expects that. Is it legal? I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow, so... Oh, thanks, Dan. You enjoy it here a lot more than the official commentary. Well, we do try... What's a name? Vista Resistor. That is a name. Ashley, thank you for the $10 as well. Much appreciated. Yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, it is... Yeah, big thank you for everyone tuning in, as always. We try and do things a bit differently here. Well, I say differently. I'm just me. I don't do anything differently. I'm just me. And I hope the infectiousness of my passion for the sport comes across. And, well, look, I enjoy chatting with you guys. And as you like, enjoying chatting with each other as well. So we have a good community here. And that's what I've tried to build. Is an area, a place where we can all come chat about our love for F1, no matter who you support. Who's my favourite driver? I say this all the time. There is one driver I am a fan of. Lewis Hamilton. Other than that, I like other drivers. I like some more than others. I don't particularly dislike any drivers. But ultimately, I'm a fan of the sport and I want to see good racing and I want to get excited for a close championship battle every single year. In an ideal world, I'd love every single race to be fought tooth and nail for a race win. But I know we don't live in an ideal world, just like how not every cricket match is going to be exciting, every American football match, every tennis match, football match, etc., soccer match. So, yeah. But I'm just a fan of the sport. So, thanks, Matt. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. How much is the GOAT? Verstappen is the best racing driver of all time. Bold claim, Danny. Bold claim. Lock your doors, mate. You're going to be having a few people knock on your door. I can see he's definitely working his way up to it. I think if he goes and dominates like the World Endurance Championship and stuff and wins like the 24-hour series and multiple and different racing series, I think he will go down as like the greatest of all time. I think how can you not? How can you not, to be fair? Because if he goes and race, I mean, people talk about Jim Clark and things like that. They always go back to Jim Clark because he just raced in everything. And he dominated, like, everything as well. So, yeah. So, do I think Max is past his prime? No. What is he, 27? Most definitely not. He's coming into his prime. Right. Anyway, enough of the chit-chat. Let's get back into commentary mode and have a look at the qualifying for this session. For the all-important race where the big points that are on offer, 25 points on offer tomorrow, of course, for P1, 18 for second place. And, well, the person who has to really dig themselves out of a hole right now, I think, is Oscar Piastri. And, well, he doesn't have two brand new sets of tyres available to him, as he is on a set of used compound tyres right now. Max Verstappen is on brand new, as is Leclerc, as is Norris, as is Hamilton, as is Antonelli, as is Russell. So Piastri is actually on the back foot here with only having one brand new set available to him. So let's stay on board with Piastri, shall we? Because he will be the first driver to set a lap time, other than Ollie Behrman. I think Ollie Behrman's first out there, but we'll keep an eye on Oscar Piastri more importantly, because he is our championship leader. He has had his championship lead to Max Verstappen cut down from 63 to 55, but importantly for him, it is maintained at 22 to his championship rival and teammate Lando Norris. Maybe repercussions on the cards, as he's actually gone 0.003 of a second slower than Ollie Behrman in a Haas in the first sector. George Russell has gone 3 tenths quicker than Piastri in that first sector with a 24.964. Let's keep one eye on George Russell, but keep an eye on Kimi Antonelli as well, because he's also been very quick in this qualifying session. But he doesn't have an answer there and actually has a slow first sector by his standards. Oscar Piastri making his way down the back straight, though, with the DRS open past Max Verstappen into turn 12. The second sector line is just on the exit of turn 12, and our championship leader, Oscar Piastri, does a 37.598. It's slow. That is literally 12th fastest today in Sector 2. Oscar Piastri on this set of tyres, he's going to have to bank on that set, only one brand new set that he has here, because this is not going to be a quick time at all for Oscar Piastri, as Ollie Behrman does a 1:33.139. And I think at its current rate, unless it's a really good last sector for Piastri, he's actually going to be slower than Behrman in a Haas. Here he goes across the line. He's 3 tenths, over 3 tenths slower than Ollie Behrman. Oscar Piastri has it all to do in the second run here, as George Russell does a 32.959. But Lando Norris does the fastest first sector out of anyone, a 24.915. Max Verstappen making his way through turn 1. We'll keep an eye on Kimi Antonelli as he crosses the line and slots into P2. That pushes Oscar down into P4 at the moment. Charles Leclerc, he is on the lap. 25.2 in the first sector, 37.5 in the middle. Not particularly quick from Charles Leclerc here in this first Q3 run on this brand new set of tyres. And, well, Lewis Hamilton's had a very slow first sector, as it's neck and neck between Verstappen and Lando Norris at the moment. Charles Leclerc crosses the line very slowly and goes over 4 seconds slower than that of George Russell. Carlos Sainz pushes Piastri down again into P5 as he moves up into P4. Lando Norris has a slow middle sector. Lando Norris, there seems to be that middle sector. Maybe there's a bit of an issue there. The track state is not what it is in that middle sector. We will see. Maybe the wind direction has changed, and maybe there's a bit more of a headwind down that back straight, as Hamilton only moves up into P6, 7 tenths slower than George Russell. Max Verstappen's middle sector, it's purple for Max. Max improves, though, a 37.4 from him. So it is going to be Max Verstappen on provisional pole, you presume, with only a few more corners to navigate. Lando Norris goes into P1, only half a tenth quicker than George Russell with a 32.9. Fernando Alonso, what can the wiry old Spanish fox do as he comes across the finish line? He moves up into P7 and ahead of Lewis Hamilton. But all eyes on the Dutchman, Max Verstappen. He's purple in the first, he's purple in the second, and he's purple in the last. A 32.5 on provisional pole, and he's 4 tenths quicker than Lando Norris in P2 at this moment in time. Woo, what a lap from Maxi boy. Lando Norris is P2 at the moment. George Russell is P3. Antonelli is 4th. Behrman is 5th. Maybe Behrman has taken the position of Hulkenberg and being the surprise performer here from the lower teams, shall we say, the midfield team. Sainz is in 6th at the moment. Piastri is in 7th. Piastri is 7th. He has a brand new set of tyres to use, though. Supposedly Lewis, I'm going through all the whole grid here. Lando had a slide in the second sector, so that's where he lost time. Not sure where it occurred, but that slide no doubt would have lost Lando quite a bit of time. It was a 37.5 for Lando in that middle sector, I think it was. So it wasn't particularly quick for him. And then, of course, your tyres are never going to be, never recover that performance after you've had a slide through one of the corners here in that last sector. So Max at the moment on provisional pole, as Lewis Hamilton. Watching a replay of Lewis of what happened to him. He's currently both Ferraris 1.1 seconds down. Oh, big lock up for Lewis into the first sector. So, yeah, not good for Lewis. He is porpoising, isn't he? Lewis is porpoising. So, not good for him. You can see the sparks coming from the underside of the car as he goes up the hill. And Charles Leclerc backed off because he was going slow anyway, and he exceeded track limits out of turn 9. Oh, Charles actually spun. Oh my God, I did think he went across the line very slowly. Charles spun the Ferrari out of the last corner. He did a nice 360. Okay. Okay, Charles. Not what we expected, just Ferrari things. Just Ferrari things there for Charles Leclerc. As Max does report, the track is a bit more difficult, I think. So Max stating the track has got a bit more difficult. Confirmation there. Ferrari nowhere in the one session that matters, yeah. There we go. They're just all about hopium, aren't they, Ferrari? Like, they get you hyped. They get you really hyped, and then they just bring you back down to reality when it matters. So, Ferrari spun. Nothing surprises you with Ferrari, yeah. Oil on the track? No. Apparently they are saying there's a bit of oil on track. I don't know if that will be the case, though. They will investigate it. But we are in the throes of this session. 3.5 minutes remaining here in Q3. Charles Leclerc now on a brand new set of softs. And, well, it is all or nothing, isn't it, for a lot of these drivers, in particular Oscar Piastri, because what a poor weekend it has been for him thus far. He has maintained that championship lead to his teammate after taking him out in the same incident earlier on in the sprint race. And, well, at the moment, he finds himself in P7 with 5 cars separating him and his teammate. But we saw, if another incident occurs like it did in the sprint race, how quickly you can make up positions. But it won't be a boost to his confidence by any means if he finds himself qualifying that far back. So we will see. We will see. We are addicted to copiums. Leclerc on pole, calling it now. Oh. Where can you find the lap records? Wikipedia says 136 at this track, which seems, yeah, 136 isn't. So you can go on f1.com, and I think you can find the track records on there. But yes, 32.3 was fastest lap last year, as someone rightfully corrected. So this track state is not as quick as it was last year, because we know these cars are over a second quicker at a lot of circuits. We've seen a number of track records be smashed this year. So if the track record isn't smashed, it's normally because the track conditions aren't allowing it. So the dots are so exciting to watch because you don't know if they're actually pointing the right way. Exactly. Right. Wind has picked up slightly, yeah, 8.6 degrees. Track temperature has fallen a little bit. It's sub 44 degrees now. How will that help or hinder some of these drivers? We will see. But importantly there, Lando Norris is out ahead of Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri is out behind Lando. Is that the repercussions that we mentioned? Is that where we mentioned that? Because is Piastri worthy of going out later than Norris as it currently stands after the performance earlier and how Norris didn't in the first run either? Interesting. We will see. Right, let's stay on board with Charles Leclerc, shall we? As he is currently making his way through turn 1 and the first sector. Here we go. It is Max Verstappen is out last as well, so that's going to be interesting. All eyes on Max at the end here. But Charles Leclerc makes his way through the first sector, and that's much better for Charles Leclerc. A 25 flat. Better from Charles. We'll keep an eye on Hamilton as he's second following Charles Leclerc. Currently 9th and 10th for them. Charles had a spinaroo through the last corner on his lap where he exceeded track limits anyway. As Lewis Hamilton goes even quicker than Charles, a 24.949. Just to put in perspective, that's only a couple of hundred slower than Max Verstappen's first sector time. Good laps, good sector times there for the Ferraris. Let's see how they handle here as George Russell is also starting his lap. Max Verstappen will have to move out of the way of Charles Leclerc as he makes his way through the second sector, and it's a 37.5. So it's slower than Max's. It's a couple of attempts off there. Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari, has lost time there in that middle sector. Let's see if Lewis Hamilton's been able to keep up the pace as he makes his way through turn 12 as well. Charles making his way through the fast right-hander as Antonelli moves off to the side. As Lewis has a very slow middle sector of 37.6. 22.7, and all that hard work has just dissipated there in that middle sector. Charles Leclerc round the last corner as Lando Norris will keep an eye on him as he's slower in that first sector, but only by a couple of hundredths as Leclerc, even with that, goes into P2. We'll keep an eye on Lewis as a check. Oh, Max is not able to cross the line. Max is done. That's his one lap. He's the first car to take the flag. How important could this be as Max had to let Charles Leclerc through? Will there be any improvements from any of the drivers out there? We'll keep an eye on Oscar Piastri as he's improved there at 25.1, but it's still a tenth and a half off, or almost 2 tenths off of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris was a 25.0, but you're talking not a lot of difference between his fastest time. How important is this going to be? Max Verstappen, who's currently on provisional pole, not able to set a final push lap as George Russell moves up into P3. Behrman has his lap time deleted. He is out here. Carlos Sainz is improving. It's looking like a good lap from Carlos Sainz. His middle sector isn't particularly quick, but where is he going to move himself up into? Oh, he stays where he is in P8. Piastri isn't improving. Neither is Lando, and I think Max, luckily, is going to still hold on to pole position, but Lando might not even be starting second. Oh, he does with a purple last sector. How about Oscar Piastri? So Lando will start on the front row. It's a repeat of this morning, but Oscar Piastri is currently in P9. He's at a very slow middle sector of 37.6, and he's only 6th. He's only 6th with Fernando Alonso and Kimi Antonelli still out there who can push him further down. Fernando Alonso currently in P10 and he stays P10. So Kimi Antonelli's the only driver who can push Piastri down into 7th. Max has provisional pole and he improves in the last sector, but not enough. And wow. What a story that would have been if Max Verstappen was unable to secure pole position because he failed to cross the start-finish line for that final push lap. But thankfully for him, his first lap was more than sufficient. 3 tenths quicker than Lando Norris. We have the same front row as this morning. Max on pole, Lando in second, and well, Charles Leclerc is third of Ferrari. We have 2 Ferraris starting in the top 5. How is that possible? No doubt they'll be disqualified tomorrow. George Russell is in P4. He starts on the second row. We know how punchy he can be at the start of the race. Lewis Hamilton is in P5. Oscar Piastri, half a second off of Verstappen, and well, nearly 3 tenths off of his teammate, just like it was yesterday in the sprint quali. Kimi Antonelli in P7 from him, 6 tenths, nearly 3 tenths off of his teammate. Better, but not overly great in relation to his teammate, but better for him to be in Q3. Behrman in P8, Sainz in P9, and Alonso in P10. Ooh, Max is in hunting mode. Indeed he is. Oh my goodness. Wow, that would have been something if Max was unable to set that last push lap there. But whew, the quali was weird. It needed more Hadjar. It's 13 minutes past Germany. No worries. For any of you who have tuned in today, much appreciated. It's been a long day. Max is on pole. Hang on. Simply lovely, he says. They make out that he's got a set in hand. So I don't know if it was by design, but he didn't go for another push lap. But we'll see. My pleasure, Stid. My pleasure. Max made the quali even more exciting. He did, to be fair, there at the end. So am I ready to hear the Dutch anthem? We'll probably hear it tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be interesting. If Norris makes it through the first corner unscathed, it's going to be an interesting race. Because, I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen at the start of the race, like we saw in the sprint race. But let's say Verstappen and Norris make their way through the first corner unscathed, and they're able to pull off into the distance, which I think they probably will do. It's going to be interesting to see. As I said, I still have that question mark over the tyre management of the Red Bull. So we will see. He was not happy with the race pace earlier. He was unhappy with the rear instability of the car. Will that rear its ugly head again in the race tomorrow? We will see. It may just be a waiting game for Lando tomorrow. But one thing is for sure is that I think that's Oscar's worst qualifying of the year. That is Oscar's worst qualifying of the year. P6. I don't think he's qualified worse than P5 or P4. Is he? So, no. Sorry, Baku was his worst qualifying, but he crashed out, didn't he? But prior to him crashing out, or excluding Baku where he crashed out, this is his worst qualifying on merit, like alone where he's finished. So, No worries, Thomas, no worries. Do I have the current standing points? I don't have them right now for qualifying. They aren't shown, unfortunately. But yeah, that is... Verstappen is 55 points behind Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris is 22 points behind. So yes, both could gain. Oscar Piastri would gain... I think he gains 8... I think Norris would gain 10 points on Piastri. If Piastri finishes 6th, I think that's correct. So that's still a significant margin. But of course, he wants to win the race. He could still win the race. Look, Piastri may have... I mean, maybe that car just isn't there for Piastri this weekend prior to the crash as well. And maybe the crash has hampered him so. How long is my stream before the race starts? An hour. I go live 1 hour before the race starts, guys. So you can hit that notification button. When I end the stream, it will send you directly over to the stream. So you can leave that open in your browser. It is on my YouTube channel as well, but you can hit that like button. You can hit the notification button to be notified 30 minutes before the stream is going to go live. So, do I think we'll see contact in the first corner tomorrow? I don't think so. I think everyone's going to be a bit more cautious. Charles may. I mean, it really depends on the race starts. I mean, if Norris gets the same start that he did this morning, he is going to end up under pressure again. The positive for Norris is that he knows what he needs to do. It's a repeat of this morning where he's on the inside. He's in the same starting position. And he could be roles reversed and Max bogs down at the start. And Lando is the one who gets a decent start and is ahead into turn 1. So there's so many different variables because of that first corner. That's what's so great about it. It may be big contact behind. There may be big contact between Oscar Piastri again, but no fault of his own this time around. So you just don't know. And that'll be the worry for Oscar, is that he's starting in the vortex of danger. He is starting right in between a load of cars where if there's a bit of contact, he's going to be very susceptible to picking up damage. And yeah, that's not obviously what you want. So, do I race on my sim at this circuit? I do. Yeah, I really like this track. I really do. And it is very technical. And I think it is very much a driver's track. And I think if you're maybe seeing Oscar not like this track, I don't think he did particularly well last year as well. And I don't think he's... let me have a check. I want to fact check myself here. Max reporting that the wind picked up today compared to yesterday. So he's confirming there that the wind did play a factor into the S's. It was a bit tricky. So definite played a factor. So I want to see. So last season, United States. So last season, Lando... Okay, so Lando actually did only finish one position ahead of Oscar last year. And there wasn't that much of a gap. But, I mean, Lando was fighting Max at that time. What happened in qualifying? Let's go qualifying. He started on pole. Oscar started in 5th. So, the year before that, 23... Lando finished 2nd because Lewis is DQ, and Oscar finished he had a DNF after completing 10 laps. So when it came to qualifying, he was P10 and Lando was P2. So I think this is a track that Lando likes and has always had the better of Piastri. I'm not sure if it's necessarily Piastri's favourite track. So just looking at that face value. So with the crash earlier, don't know how that's hampered maybe his setup. I'm sure he will maybe allude to it in interviews in post qualifying. So we will go live. We'll listen to it and we'll inform you guys tomorrow. So with a higher track temp, do I think it could change to a night race? No, it won't. It won't change to a night race. Can you see sector times? Of course you can. There you go. Leclerc wants Lando to have a good launch. Lando throws it down the inside and Leclerc can throw it down the inside of both of them, just like 24. Yeah, exactly. There's so many different things. There's so many different things that can occur, can't there? But yeah, I think this is very much like a driver's track, and I think because it's quite technical, I think some guys either love it here or they don't. There's some very flowing circuits, flowing elements of it. And I think that's why you see kind of similar drivers always kind of excel here. Just imagine the top 4 cover inside line and Hamilton scoots around the outside of them all. Well, I mean, look, no one expected Ferrari to win it last year, and Charles just went, thank you very much, down the inside at turn 1, didn't he? So there's so many things that can happen. I think what was very intriguing earlier on was that Lando utilised the experience that he had with Max earlier on, where he sent it up the inside. Well, he sent it back up the inside, didn't he, of his teammate Piastri. And he was like, no, this is me ahead at the apex. This is my corner. And, of course, Oscar was trying to do that cutback. But I thought that was good from Lando because it shows that he's learned from something that happened to him last year. Now, of course, he'd love to do that on Max, not just on his teammate. And obviously come away unscathed as well. But it was a good defence. And he utilised the rules to his advantage. And, of course, Oscar probably would have got the move done if there was no Hulkenberg and cars on his inside, but hey-ho, there were. But, yeah, there's so many different variables that can happen. We saw that earlier on. That's the nature of this corner, the angle of it. It's just so good for that very reason. So, Scott, if Hamilton is faster than Russell in every sector, how is Lewis behind Russell? Because these fastest sector times, so the way that this works, unfortunately, it's not based upon their fastest lap. It's based upon their fastest sector time throughout qualifying. So, as an example, if we had a dry Q1 session and then the rest of qualifying, it rained and the rest of qualifying was wet, they're not going to go quicker than their fastest lap in Q1 in dry conditions. And this would say, this would basically give you their fastest sector times from that lap, which is Q1. If that was the circumstance. So it's the same thing here. So Lewis is quicker than Russell, but Lewis didn't necessarily set his fastest first sector time in the time that got him P5 here. It might have been in another lap where he then had to bail out of sector 3, you know. So that's kind of how it works, unfortunately. You think the S10s will get clogged up by a slow car and split the pack? Yeah, I mean, look, you say it's difficult to overtake. It can be. It all depends on the tyres. We know the tyres are so influential, of course. And we're hoping tomorrow that with the high track temperatures that there is actually some form of tyre management. Even if it is a one-stop, I think we will see tyre temps be an issue here. And some will fare better at it than others. And that is going to play a factor, even if it is a one-stop race. Now, look, we have seen safety cars here in the past as well. We've seen plenty of safety cars. So there's also that element to it as well. And we've seen, as soon as these cars go side by side, there's potential for carnage and there's potential for debris and crashes because of the lack of visibility in these cars as well, with how large they are. It's part of the reason why Oscar obviously made the move that he did, because he couldn't see Hulkenberg and Alonso in his blind spot. Like, the lack of vision that they have in these cars is quite substantial. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race tomorrow. I think the McLarens overall, with their tyre management, I think they'll be feeling confident if they could get through turn 1 comfortable, and especially if they're behind. I think they'll feel comfortable that if Norris is behind Verstappen out of turn 1, that they'll be able to get Verstappen over a race duration, as long as there's like no shenanigans with safety cars and stuff. Just because of the tyre management and because of that reason, not strategy-wise. Oscar didn't not have any decent sectors. Got lucky. Some didn't get it all together in the lap. Yeah, that is true. To be fair, it could have been so much worse for Oscar. I'd expected Antonelli to at least beat Lewis Hamilton and the Ferraris, to be honest with you. He was on par with his teammate for the majority of it. So, yeah, Antonelli kind of fumbled the bag there at the end, or fumbled the ball, whatever the saying is, at the end of the session. He should be higher. He's also going to be punchy. We've already seen Antonelli take out Max this season. Could Antonelli take out Piastri? So, I don't know. And Alonso obviously is going to want to. He was punchy this morning. I imagine he'll probably do the same again as well tomorrow if the opportunity presents itself. So, Facecam, mate, much appreciated. How much time did Lewis lose in Sector 2? I don't know what his fastest sector time was. Can we check? Hang on, let's have a look. See if we can check fastest first Can we check best sector times? Oh, we can. Yeah, there we go. So here we go. Here's the laps, and you can see the best sector times. So Lewis's best... Oh, no, it's best sectors, though, isn't it? It's not best overall. It's not from the best lap. That's the problem. So I bet if you added those up, it doesn't add up to 32.9. Is there 4 temps in there? I'm not sure if there is. 3 temps. Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. That's just like the sector leaderboard that I've just showed you. That's a carbon copy. So that's their best sector times overall, not from their fastest lap, which is a shame. So Kota has chaos corners that are good for overtakes. Exactly, and I think we will see overtakes tomorrow. We see it up and down the field, especially after pit stops and so forth. We see plenty of opportunity down into turn 1. We've seen many drivers make contact into turn 1, lock up and spin of their own accord as well. We saw Charles Leclerc spin out the last corner. So, yeah, it's going to be an intriguing race tomorrow. Track temperature may be even hotter. You never know how hot it's going to get tomorrow. That won't help the tyres at all. So I think many of them out there will be thinking, Max and George and like the Ferraris will be hoping that the track temperatures are cooler. But McLaren may be hoping for hotter temperatures because then their advantage on the tyres is larger. So thanks so much. Appreciate it, mate. What is the difference between the wet tyre and the intermediate tyre, W&I tyre? It's the... what's the right word? It's the tread. So the tread in the tyre is a lot wider on the wet compound tyre. So it disperses more water. And in the intermediate, it's thinner. So it disperses less water. There's more contact patch with the track surface. But unfortunately, we don't see the wet compound used not because it's not suitable and it doesn't function. It does function. It's just the fact that there's too much spray and the visibility is so poor with how these cars generate their downforce. Do I believe in Max winning the World Drivers' Championship in the end? I'm not going to say I believe. I can see it. Of course I can. And there is still an opportunity for him. But there's a lot that he still needs to do. And it is still somewhat out of his control. Even if he wins every race between now and the end of the season, he still needs a helping hand from Lando and Oscar. Because he doesn't just need to catch Piastri, he also needs to catch Lando as well, who is ahead of him. So, yeah, he needs both of them to collide or have some issues, and he mops up those wins, just like he did in the sprint race. But, yeah, all we can do is keep doing what he's doing. Putting his car on the front row, mixing it up with them and putting them under pressure, and just letting them know, I ain't going anywhere. I ain't effing leaving. Can I compare the sector times between Lando and Oscar? I don't think I directly can, no. You think Lando will win the championship? You shouldn't get hate for thinking that he will. At all. Just like you shouldn't get hate for thinking any driver will win the championship. Look, they're in that position for a reason. And it is what it is. You can have your preference, but yeah, shouldn't have any hate at all. What is the tire allocation for tomorrow? Who has what, and what do you think will be the best strat will be? I actually don't know. We will get that information prior to the race starting tomorrow, hence why we go live an hour before the race starts, so that we can have a look at the strategy options. So if you're new to the channel, this is what we do. We go live an hour before the race begins. For our pre-show, we watch the drivers, of course, make sure they all get round to their grid slots okay, because sometimes there are some shenanigans that occur. We warm ourselves up to the race. We discuss all on the goings-on that comes out post-quali between the start of the race. And then we have a look at the strategy options, the tyre allocations, the weather, the pit stop loss times, all the relevant information that you need and myself to keep up to date on how the race may unfold. Of course, it can always completely be different to what we predict. That's the fun part of predictions, is that they're exactly that. We don't know what can maybe happen. But yeah, that's what we do. And that information by Pirelli isn't released until tomorrow. So, my pleasure, Adash, no problem. It's been a thoroughly entertaining weekend so far. Hopefully the race isn't the bus. Fingers crossed, yeah. Fingers crossed. So, Welcome, Harold. Much appreciated. Yeah, anyone who's new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's much appreciated. Trying to hit 65,000 subs. I think we've had 500. I think we've had around 400 subs today anyway, which is tremendous. Nearly 500 subs. So big thank you, guys. Channel is growing. It's heading in the right direction. So yeah, it's great to see this community grow. Probably going to be a medium-hard strat with an alternate being hard, medium, medium. Yeah, I suspect so. I think people will start on the medium. I think there'll be those starting down the lower half of the grid who will start on the hards, try and go long, bank for a safety car, cheap pit stop, etc. The usual stuff. But I think, yeah, most will start on the medium because it leaves them open to that strategy of whether they want to go onto the hards or whether maybe even use the softs, do a two-stop. I don't know what the pit stop loss time is here. So I don't know if it would be beneficial. I mean, it is a track you can overtake. It is a track because there's different racing lines. There's 2 effective DRS zones. So if the data makes sense, a new set of tyres and doing a second pit stop might be worth it. Especially if the car ahead has tyres that are struggling. As I said, I do think that there is going to be blistering tomorrow. I do think that there's going to be a tyre management element to this race tomorrow. And we know, of course, you need a significant advantage to overtake cars in this current regulation set. But this is a track where different lines can be taken through different corners. You can do cutbacks, you can find some clean air to get the good traction. So as we know, catching is one thing, overtaking is another, but I do think this is a track where you can do that. And it all depends on that pit stop loss time, which we will check tomorrow, of course. What about starting on softs? No, I don't think starting on softs is a viable strategy. I just don't think they'll probably last that long. I just don't think the starting on soft strategy is a viable strategy anymore, to be honest. Hearing that Lando's repercussion is Oscar choosing quali order for the rest of the season. If it's for the rest of the season, that is utterly ridiculous. And if I'm Lando, I'm throwing my toys out the pram, and I think it's about time he gets decent representation. If that is the case, that is purely because Oscar Piastri's camp, i.e. Mark Webber, have gone in there and said, they've kicked off, basically. I don't think it would happen through McLaren's own decision-making. One race, maybe. Rest of the season, no. Especially when your teammate is leading you by 22 points in the Drivers' Championship, no. Why are you giving him more preference? Why are you giving him... That is preference. I know there's been discussions about, oh, who's been preferring who. That right there is preference. That is clear indication of preferring and favouring one driver over another if it is the overall, the remainder of the season. I don't think it will be, but I mean, Martin Brundle did say, oh, it may be something that's seen in Vegas. So he alluded to something, but didn't give us the information. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Oscar Piastri's actually talking right now. Hang on. Oscar said he had no mistakes and that he just felt like he didn't get into a rhythm throughout the whole session. So Oscar just not at the races here. So, but is it fair on Piastri? Lando does not deserve that, no matter how you hate the dude. Well, exactly. And whatever you think of any driver, like, let him race at the end of the day. If you've given him repercussions for what happened in Singapore, then you need to give repercussions for what Oscar Piastri did there. So, like earlier on in the sprint race. And at least, and I said earlier on, at least Oscar was able to finish the race, and Lando was able to finish the race when it came to Singapore. This time around, neither of them finished the race. So, look, at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. I think the whole situation is ridiculous, and it's just a joke. But I think Lando, if that is the case, what is his management team doing? Why, if I was representing Lando, and he came back to me and he went, "You're never going to believe what the call I've just had or the meeting I've just had." I'm like, what? Oh, because of what happened in Singapore, I've now got to Oscar Piastri now gets preferred decisions on the order of qualifying for the rest of the season. I would be literally kicking down Zach Brown's door. I'd be kicking it down. No way in hell is my client getting like getting shafted like that. Sorry, absolutely no. So, technically taking second place at USA is better than pole because of the inside line. If you get a good start, Lando didn't get a good start earlier, so pole position is still where you want to be. McLaren is not really acting stable in general, I know. And why tell us this repercussions and then not tell us what they are? Like, you're just creating more drama and more. You're not quietening down the. You're not quietening down the allegations and like you're just making it worse for yourself, aren't you? So, but anyhow, what is the lap time difference between mediums and hards? I don't know off the top of my head. I'll find out that information tomorrow for you. Just a case of let them get on with it. Sooner or later, one of them is going to leave. Yeah. Sorry, someone said, what do McLaren do if Oscar drops form? They'll keep him. And then it turns out if Oscar drops form, then they will want to keep Lando and Oscar for as long as possible. And I think secretly they probably want one of them to eventually just be overall better than the other, so that the natural decision making means that they don't have to pick a number one over a number two. Like there is a de facto number one, number two because of the performances. But as it currently stands, yeah, they're both number one drivers, and we're seeing this very season why so often it is the case there are number one and number two drivers in teams, because having two number one drivers is very difficult to manage, as it was for Toto Wolff with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, and as it is now for McLaren with Norris and Piastri. So, yeah, that's why if you're a team principal, really, you do want a team. If I was running a team, I wouldn't want two number one drivers. I'd want a clear number one and a number two. Someone who, like, yeah, do you know what? I'll be fair with you. If you can match the performance, I'll give you like a fair opportunity. Like there'll be stipulations in place that he's going to get the upgrades first because he's the number one driver, etc. But if you're showing promise and that you're like getting up to that level, then yeah, we're going to have discussions to be had with our number one. But yeah. Oscar's been if Oscar loses performance to the end of the season, you can't not tell him to give up. I just think you have to let them fight it out. They've earned the right for the whole season, even if Max is on them. And let's say it's like only a few points separating them going to the last few races. You cannot favour any driver. You just can't. Unless it is mathematically possible for one driver over another to win it. Or, sorry, is one driver is mathematically out of the championship. You cannot ask any of them, of Norris or Piastri, to favour the other and help them when it comes to winning the championship. You just can't. I think they've earned the right to, even if Max gets involved, to just go racing and fight it out. And look, if Max ends up winning it, so be it. The last thing that you want is, I think, is to remove any opportunity for either Piastri or Norris to give it up while they're still mathematically possible to win a championship. So, but yes, it will be McLaren's undoing, Mike. I totally agree, because of everything that they've set precedent-wise earlier on in the season. So, Oscar's been going last in quali since the while now. I can remember Saudi, Monza, Silverstone, etc. Please stop this. It's at this stage of the season when IndyCar drivers are just classier than F1 drivers. If Max was not on pole for sprint, he probably would have been out. Well, it's very difficult to say ifs and buts if like Max wasn't on sprint pole. I mean, look, if Max wasn't on sprint pole, then Lando and Oscar are on pole position and starting on the front row, and the whole racing situation it could be very different. So Oscar will never give up. He is a strong driver, and I don't doubt any of them will give up, as they shouldn't give up. Oscar is still a significant margin ahead of both Max and his teammates, with 6 races to go, 2 of them being sprint race weekends. 22 points is still quite a significant margin. Yes, he needs to stop the rot, because if he loses more points here, that's 4 races in a row where he would have lost points to Norris, and Norris would have cut into the gap. But it's still a large margin. There's still more for Piastri to lose, as it currently stands, than there is, in essence, kind of for him to gain. It's very difficult when you've never won a championship before. I guess that mindset, while he's leading what he is, to try and ensure that he doesn't give something dramatic away to his teammate. But at some point, yeah, he does have to sit down and go, I need to stop this. I need to gain some points on my teammate and make it even harder for him. But he hasn't done that. That's not to say that he can't do that tomorrow. He may find something overnight and find some confidence, and he may end up beating Norris tomorrow. There's so many things that can happen in tomorrow's race. We just don't know. More reason to tune in tomorrow, guys. Race win ahead of Lando, almost like 50 or ahead of Max. He'll keep going. Exactly. He's still the favourite to win this championship. Rightfully so. Because he's 22 points ahead. So, if he gains 3 points on his teammate, which isn't a lot, if he gains 3 points on his team, 4 points, sorry, on his teammate, which is entirely possible. It's only like a couple of positions. He will end up more than a race win again, ahead of his teammate with 5 races to go. 5 race weekends to go. So, yeah. But, look, sport, a lot of the time is about momentum. Anyone who's played any form of sport, whether it's golf, tennis, cricket, football, etc. If a team is on a run and an individual is on a run, like, confidence plays such a big role and a big factor when it comes to, sport and success. So, yeah. But it's going to be interesting tomorrow how Lando plays it with Max. Of course, he doesn't want to do anything untoward with him to ensure that he is able to finish the race. But, of course, he wants to win because there's 7 points difference. There's at least going to be 7 points minimum that he will gain over his teammate Oscar Piastri if he finishes in first. And, well, if Max finishes second and Oscar finishes third, then it's even more. It will be 10 points, won't it, that he's gained on him. So, yeah, lots to play for tomorrow. Yes, my bed is calling. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys. I know for some of you it is already Sunday. This stream is going to end and it's going to be send you straight over to the race live stream. So yeah, leave that open, hit a like button, and we will see you an hour before the race begins tomorrow for our pre-race show to look at all the strategy options and what we can maybe expect in the United States Grand Prix tomorrow. Will it be more of the same earlier? We will see. Have a lovely night all. Big thank you for all the subs and the likes, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.